Let's get down to business. Thanks for coming out tonight.
I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get.
Oh, I make money moves.
You can't see me, my time is now.
What up, guys? Welcome back to the Fitness Times Business Podcast, the show created to provide you with the practical and strategic advice to help you level up in fitness, business, your career, your relationships, and your life. My name is Joseph Mencel. I am your host. And guys, I'm joined in this episode by a very special guest. Australia's most recent new IFBB Classic Physique Pro. He's a massive Joe-sponsored athlete. He is an online coach. He's a personal trainer. He's an all-round nice guy, Ethan Gohari.
Hey, it's a pleasure being here.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Man, I'm excited to have you on the show. It's your first time to Adelaide as well. So you're here in Adelaide doing some media for Massive Joe's. Your first visit, your first time here to Massive Joe's headquarters. What are your thoughts so far?
No, I'm loving it. I love the atmosphere. I love the people around here. Everyone's nice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I haven't been to anywhere yet, but it's a bit chilly here, which is a bit different.
It's freezing today.
Yeah,
I apologize for that, man. Ethan, man, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. This is your first ever podcast. You don't look nervous at all. So
That's good.
But man, there's a lot to unpack here. Really where I'd like to begin is you've come on the scene in the bodybuilding world, in circles of bodybuilding, quite quickly. Your come up has been quite quick. People have, start mentioning your name. Obviously you turned pro 3 months ago now. 3 months?
4 months ago. It was March. Beginning of March.
So almost 4 months ago, 2021 IFBB Pro League Season A Pro Qualifier. So I want to take a little bit of a dive into your story. I want to, where has Ethan come from? What's your story? Let's dive straight in there.
So I'm born and raised in Iran. I came to Australia when I was 19, and I started bodybuilding when I was 14 back in Iran. Mm-hmm. I did bodybuilding to just get better at soccer because I had a dream to be a soccer player as a kid. Mm-hmm. I was playing soccer professionally, and I got injured when I was 19, so I had to stop playing soccer. Yeah. And I just bodybuilding took over it, and I've been loving it since then. I never stopped training. I never missed a session or anything. Yeah. Just been enjoying it.
Yeah. So born and raised really in Iran. You kind of grew up in Iran. Most of your family's still over there, right?
Oh, yeah, my parents are still there, but I have my brother lives here. I got my cousins, my uncles, aunties. A lot of my relatives are here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a big family here as well.
Yeah. So some still over in Iran, some in, and you're based in Sydney. Yeah. For the viewers and listeners who don't know, I mentioned this is your first time in Adelaide, but you actually live in Sydney. Yeah. So born and raised in Iran, you kind of come up. Your dream is to be this pro soccer player. Injury strikes when you're 17, right? You had the knee injury. And then you kind of, that dream has kind of ended for me. What am I going to do from the sporting perspective? And you've been introduced to bodybuilding through like strength and conditioning for soccer, That was kind of your introduction.
Yeah, I was training 3 times a day, like soccer twice and weight training at night. Yeah, like every day. Yeah, I was doing like 20 sessions a week. Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, and you enjoyed it, right? Yeah, you enjoyed the weight training, which is quite rare, especially for soccer players. Like a lot of soccer players do it because it makes them better soccer players, but like they hate weight training.
No, I enjoyed it. I loved it since day one.
Yeah. So then you get this injury, 17, and then you kind of like, how did you go from soccer to bodybuilding? Like it's quite a big jump.
Yeah. I never wanted to be a bodybuilder. I hated dieting because I was eating what I wanted to eat because I was training 3 times a day and I was just shredded all year round. Yeah. And I was getting a lot of compliments from people. Like they were saying to me, like, you should compete. You should do a show. You got a good gene. You should compete. And I started competing in 2016. I did my personal training course. I did my fitness. I did set 4 in fitness. And to be better at my job, I thought, oh, let's do a show. Let's do a show just for fun. Yeah. I did that show, and since then I've been loving competing. I just enjoy the process. Just love seeing the progress.
Did anyone encourage you or inspire you, in that transition period when it was like the soccer dream has ended, that's in the past now? I'm interested in this bodybuilding. Who kind of encouraged you or inspired you?
I was watching Jay Cutler's documentaries on YouTube, and like Jay was doing whatever Jay was doing, I was doing it. He was doing, let's say he was doing a chest day, he was doing incline press. Okay, I'll do it. I do that. He was doing a plate loaded press. Okay, I'll do that. He was having oats in the morning with eggs or whatever. Yeah. Okay, I should do that. I think I should do that. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just if he's doing it, then I should be doing it. Yeah,
that was the inspiration.
Yeah, Jay Cutler.
Yeah,
and to me, Jay Cutler is the greatest bodybuilder. Just because of his work ethic. I know he didn't have the best genetic, but his work ethic was just sick.
And it's interesting, right? Because, we look at you did your first show in 2016. And as we kind of look at your progression as a bodybuilder and as you've kind of progressed through shows and federations, and I'll get into that in a second, it kind of mirrors a lot like Jay Cutler's professional career as a bodybuilder, right? As he kind of came up. Didn't do so well, kind of came up, and then was like, the bridesmaid to Ronnie Coleman for so many years in the Mr. Olympia competition. It was like Jay Cutler second place next year, Cutler second place next year, second place next year, second place. So you're, just to kind of run through your competing career thus far. So 2016. So you started just to kind of get to 2016. So the transition from soccer to bodybuilding was like 2012, right?
So I was 17 when I stopped playing soccer.
So 2012, 2013.
Yeah, 2012 actually. Yeah, 2012.
And you trained before you even considered competing. You put in you put like 4 or 5 years in training, right?
So from 14 to 21.
Yeah, well there you go.
Which is 7 years. 7 years.
Yeah, and then the proper bodybuilding training when you finished soccer, so kind of 17 to 21, there's 4 years of training, and then you're like, all right, I'm at a point now where I want to step on stage for the first time. You do 2016 WBFF, no place.
No place. I didn't make it to top 10.
Then you go 2017, you switch federation, you come to the IFBB, bodybuilding juniors, no place.
No place.
Then you go 2018 IFBB bodybuilding juniors, first place in junior bodybuilding.
First win.
But you also do classic physique, right? This is kind of your transition into classic physique. No place.
No place.
Then you come back, 2019, classic physique. You get your first win in a classic physique class. You go into the overall, second place. Then you come back, 2019, same thing, first place.
Yeah, this happened 4 times.
4 times in a row, right? Through 2019 season A, season B, 2020 season A, then the pandemic hits, no shows, and then you come back 2021, classic physique, you win first place at the nationals, first place at the pro qualifier, you go into the overall, and you finally get your pro card.
Yeah. That was like 2 years of dieting. I was dieting all year round for 2 years, and somehow I was making progress. Every time we competed, I just got better and better.
Yeah, and that's the similarity between your kind of journey and I guess Jay Cutler's journey. Your journey was trying to get that pro card, trying to get the win, and then similar to Jay Cutler, where he was trying to get the Mr. Olympia title.
I never gave up because I knew that I could win it. I was just so close every single time. I felt like I had it every single time, and obviously I wasn't happy with the results, so with the outcome. So I just kept coming back. Every show I did, next year I went back to the gym. Even on the show day, I went back to the gym. I trained legs. I started dieting as soon as I got back home because I only had like 6 months. I didn't want to waste a day. I'm still not wasting a day. I'm going to compete next year end of the year next year, and I'm still dieting. I'm on track. It's just a lifestyle.
It's part of the process.
Yeah,
right?
like it's a process. That's what keeps you motivated.
On the flip side, with your professional, you've got bodybuilding on one side of your life, and then you've got your profession and I guess the career side of your life as well, right? Is growing up in Iran, so your whole family has been in construction,
Yeah.
right? Your parents, aunties, uncles,
Everyone.
So your kind of path growing up in Iran as well, you started studying construction, and I guess the goal was to move into not necessarily a family business, but the business that the family was in.
Yeah.
You then have that move to Australia when you're 19. You get to Sydney. You continue studying construction. Am I right?
For a year. Yeah.
For a year, and then you kind of get a year in. You're 20, 21 years old. You're thinking about competing. You got the fitness thing happening on one side, and then you make a decision about what. I can't have enough of this construction thing. This is not what I want to do.
Yeah, I wasn't enjoying it. So a lot of people against me, actually. Even my dad said, no, you have to do the construction. There's a lot of money in construction. There's no money in fitness and personal training. But I knew it. I knew if I do it, I'll be successful because I truly enjoy it. Yeah. And so my dad was against it. I said, Dad, look, I respect you, but this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And I chose to be happy. And I've been loving it since then. Like, I love training people. I love having people achieve their goals. It's just, it is very satisfying for me. And I love what I do.
Yeah. So you go from, you make that decision to, that's it, I'm done studying construction. I want to go down the path of personal training really at that point, right? So you go and you study personal training. At the same time, you're working night fill at Woolworths at the time?
Yeah, I was working with Woolies.
Just to, kind of pay your way through your personal training course, finish your personal training course, and then, you get into the gym, and then what happens?
So I finished my PT, and I was still working at Woolies. I had the certificate, but I was still working at Woolies. One night I was prepping for my first show. I was on a shift, and I was eating on job, and I got kicked out. They fired me. Said you can't be eating, and because I had to make sure I get my meals in. That's my priority. I don't care about anything else. I gotta make sure I get my meals in. My training is on point, and they fired me because I was eating. And then I did my show, and after I did my first show, I started working as a PT in Castle Fitness. Yeah. And when you first start personal training, obviously you have no clients or anything. You have to do gym. You have to work on the floor, at least for like 1 year or two. Whenever you feel like you have enough clients, you can move on. And it's not easy to be a personal trainer. I was like that 99 out of 100 personal trainers are not successful. It's just not easy. But I knew I could do it because it was my passion. Just had to put in the work.
And where did you start? Like a lot of personal trainers, I think they kind of, have this misconception that it's like, well, I do my personal training course, I finish my personal training course, I go get a job at a gym, and then suddenly the clients start flooding in. No. That wasn't the case for you, right?
No chance.
I don't think that's the case for anybody. But
I started on the floor. I started with just moving the weights, cleaning, just helping people. Just if anyone got any question, they would come ask me. I had no clients, so how I got to this point was I started giving trial sessions, free sessions. And I would say out of 100 free sessions, I would get one client. I did that at least for a year, just giving free sessions, working like 60 hours a week or so, being in the gym like 15 hours a day. It was just crazy. But I was just so passionate about it. I knew I have to do this in order to be successful in this business, which I did. I'm at the point where I don't really need to do any of those stuff. I don't need to give any trial sessions or anything.
Yeah.
and I cannot go back to there.
Well, you did the work, right?
Yeah.
You did the work right at the start to kind of build. I mean, you started from nothing, you know, coming from not a fitness background, coming from, well, I mean, let's call it for what it is, man, coming from a completely different country.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, speaking English as your second language.
Yeah.
Building something from absolute bottom, grassroots style, you know, you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
You know, especially in an industry that you really had no experience in up until that point.
Yeah.
Man, I want to talk a little bit about your move to Australia. Right, when you were 19, you kind of, you know, it's time to leave Iran, time to move somewhere with a little bit more opportunity. You know, at that point, what were the logistics of the move? Because you say your parents are still in Iran. You know, did you come to Australia by yourself? Did family members come with you? You know, how did that decision come about? And then what were the logistics of actually coming to Australia?
Yeah, so I never wanted to leave the country. My brother left a year before me, and he was so happy, and he told me there is more opportunities here. You should come over. And I just did it. I came over, and I've been loving it since then. Like, there's definitely more opportunities here. Like, you can start from zero, and if you put in the work, you can get to the top. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you put in the work, you can get there.
And it's not like that in Iran, right?
No, it's not. It's not. You have to have a lot of money to be successful, and the income is not that crazy. It's if it takes 1 to 2 years here to just be successful in a business, in Iran it might take 20 years or 10 years, and you have to have money for that. Or you have to work like 3 different jobs a day.
It's one of the things that, you know, I love talking to people who weren't born and raised in Australia, because I think that, you know, I was born here, I was raised here, but on both sides of my family, I've got European descent. So on my mum's side, I got Italian. On my dad's side, I've got Poland. Both sides of my family came from war. You know, they were war migrants to Australia. And I love having discussions with people who weren't born and raised in Australia, who have experience of, you know, what we have in this country is not normal. You know, most countries don't have the sorts of opportunities that we have here. And, you know, I think that for those of you listening and watching who have been born and raised in Australia, don't take those opportunities for granted.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's millions upon millions and billions of people in different countries who would die for the opportunities that we have in this country.
100%.
You know, and I think that
there is a lot of people in Iran that they wish they could be here.
Yeah.
I know hundreds of people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, like I say, like so many of them would just kill for the opportunities that you have moving here. So decision, you know, your brother kind of convinces you to come over. You come over by yourself, right? No one comes with you. You're like, all right, I'm going to come and you lived with your brother, right?
Yeah.
Came to Australia, lived with your brother. How long did you live with your brother? How long, you know, what did you do? Did you move out? You know, how does that look for someone who comes from a different country, doesn't speak the language? You know, how do you do that?
Yeah, so I lived with my brother for a year and a half, about a year and a half. And we were sharing the room, like, and then I moved to another place after a year and a half, which was just a very small room. It was like a storage with a kitchen. That's basically what it was, in a bathroom. And then every year that's when I got to my into fitness. And every year I just got better. I had better income, so I could move to a better place. And to now, when I'm at the point that I live somewhere that I really, it's pretty good, and it's much better than when I used to live like 5 years ago. Like, bodybuilding it's changed everything in a really good way. Like, it's just changed my lifestyle. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's everything.
Very, very, you know, it's cool to see somebody who has made the most of, you know, the opportunities that they've been presented with. You know, you came here with nothing really, and you kind of started from scratch. You went in a completely different direction than the path that you were on, and you've just made the most of it. And you know, the proof is in the pudding, right? Yeah. You've been able to achieve some pretty cool things in a pretty short period of time. Really, when you think about it, it hasn't been that many years. Yeah. And you know.
Yeah. Now when I look back, I'm like, how could I live in that place? I can never do that again.
It's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about this, this decision to leave the family industry, leaving construction and moving into, something that you thought you were passionate about at the time, which was fitness, and the decision to go, you know what, I'm assuming there was a lot of pressure, right? Probably from family, friends, maybe, to continue down the construction path. There's probably a lot of internal pressure as well, because at that point you'd invested a bunch of time and effort in studying to get to a certain point, to then go, you know what, I'm really not passionate about this. Regardless of the pressure that I'm experiencing from whoever it's coming from, I need to go and make a decision that is in the interest of my own happiness, that's in the interest of doing something I'm passionate about. Talk me a little bit through, how you got to that decision and how you built the courage to make the decision to eventually go, you know what, this is what I'm doing.
So basically, since when I was a kid, I was always doing sports. Like I was doing martial arts. I was doing soccer from when I was like 6 years old all the way to when I was 17. Like I was always training. And in my mind, I always wanted to be a coach, or I wanted to be in this business. But because of the pressure from my family or whatever, they made me to want to be in construction, which I didn't really like it, and I wasn't passionate about it. I was just doing it for the money. And I got to a point where I felt that if I keep going, I won't be successful in this business. But if I do what I really truly enjoy, I will definitely be successful in it if I put in the work, which I did. And there was a lot of negativities from my just people around me, especially going from construction to where there is a lot of money, to fitness where there is not much money. Only if you are really good, you can be successful at it. There's so many people, there's so many PTs there, they just start working after a few months, they stop. Yeah.
How do you I mean, it's a situation that I see quite frequently, right? Is that people find themselves in situations where there is different types of pressure to continue down a path that they're currently on. Perhaps it's pressure from family members, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters. Perhaps it's pressure from a spouse. Perhaps it's just, general social pressure, whatever it is. Perhaps there's financial pressure, there's like the golden handcuffs type situation. Whatever the situation is, there's pressure to continue down a path that they just are not happy with. They're just not fulfilled, they're not satisfied. It's not bringing them happiness for whatever reason. But I find that a lot of the time, people really struggle with making the decision to go and do something that they are passionate about. And that could be based on, the social pressures too much. Perhaps they fear that if they go and try and it doesn't work, what are people going to say? It's the fear of failure, right? Ultimately what it comes down to is they lack the courage to go and make that difficult decision, which is in the interest of their own happiness. How did you muster up the courage to go, you know what, pressure from whoever, I don't care, I need to do this for myself?
So for me, I don't really care what others say. If I want to do something, I will definitely do it. And it's just my personality. If I want something really bad, I just do it, I get it done. And I was 20 at that time, and I thought I'm old enough to make my own decision. and just to choose to be happy. I wanted to be happy. And I knew if I do this, I can be happy. And I did it, and I'm loving it.
What made you so sure that you were going to be happy?
I don't know. It just.
Where did that confidence come from? You know, because you talk about that you knew that it was going to bring you happiness, and then you also, you know, we had a little chat off camera. You were like, you know what, I just knew that if I pursued what I was passionate about, I would make it work. You know, you talk about how there's a lot of money in construction, there's not a lot of money in fitness, except if you're the best of the best, and you just had this confidence that you were going to be the best of the best. Where does that come from?
It came from my heart, actually. I just felt it. I felt it. It felt right. It just felt right. And it was right.
Gut instinct.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because, you know, so often we know deep down what it is we truly want to do.
Yeah.
And so often I see people kind of fight against it.
No, just gotta listen to your heart, you know?
You got to.
Gotta listen to your heart.
You got to listen to what's coming from the inside,
That's
man.
it.
You know?
100%.
Let's talk about this building your business from the ground up. You know, you mentioned that when you started you got fired from Woolies for eating on the job. You finish your PT course, you got your education in that regard, and then you start working and you're doing, 100 free sessions to get the one paid session.
Yeah.
You know, you're really kind of grinding at that point. Building a business from the ground up is really tough, especially when you don't have any background in it, especially when you're like proper starting from the bottom like you did. What was it that helped you push through when most people would give up? You know, you mentioned 99 out of 100 PTs don't make it through. I think the number's probably even a little bit higher. What inside you was like, you know what, this is really hard, but I know that if I just keep grinding, if I keep putting in the work, if I keep doing all these free sessions, at some point, it's going to start paying off?
Passion. I was just so passionate about it. I was just so passionate. I loved training people. I knew I can do it. I knew this is what it takes. If I want to be successful, I have to do free sessions. I have to work in 15 hours a day, but only get paid for 2 hours a day or whatever it was. I knew I'd be successful if I do this stuff, which I did. And I wasn't doing any sessions. From zero, I went to like 50 sessions a week in like 2 years' time, which was good for me coming from Iran, you know. This is like, I'm not even speaking English properly. I wasn't speaking English properly, and I was making a lot of money actually. But like in 2 years' time, I went up to 50 sessions, which I was impressed with it actually.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
to happen in 2 years. Yeah,
I think one of the things I see a lot with people who kind of start businesses from the ground up, and I guess this is a little bit opposed to your experience, but I'm sure there's parts that you can provide some advice on, is that often people kind of set goals for where they'd like to be in business.
Yeah.
So perhaps, if you take the personal training, for example, you start at 0 sessions and it's like, okay, well, in 3 months, I want to be doing 10 sessions a week, and then in 6, 20 sessions. And then by the end of the year, I want to be doing 40 sessions a week. In the end of 2 years, I want to be doing 60, or, whatever the goal is, right? That kind of destination goal or that kind of product goal. That's what I'm aiming for. And they start putting in work. They start working on the process to get to that product, or the journey to get to that destination. And things don't happen as quickly as they want them to happen. They're putting in this work, they're grinding, they're doing the shit jobs that no one wants to do, and it's not coming together for them. And so they go, you know what, not getting the results that I wanted to get as fast as I wanted to get them. I'm kind of done. I'm going to throw the towel in. I'm out. What advice do you have regarding that for people who are, right now they find themselves like right in the middle of that grind?
Yeah, there was definitely a few times where I didn't get what I wanted. And I just never gave up. I just kept going because I was so passionate about it. And my advice would be just find something that you truly enjoy. And if you truly enjoy and you're good at it, you're definitely going to be successful at it. Just put in the work. never give up, and you'll be successful.
Even when the going gets tough.
Yeah, even if it goes tough,
just grind
gotta
through
keep
it.
going.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah,
every aspect of your life.
Yeah, you know, it really is kind of the difference between committing to the process of something, committing to the journey of something, and going, you know what, even if this takes me longer than I think it's going to take, you know, even if I have to do more of the free sessions, even if I have to, whatever the situation may be, the kind of shit that no one wants to do, I'm just going to keep doing it no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Because I know that at some point I'm going to reach.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
At some point I'm going to get.
Just gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah. 100%.
Exactly.
This so you build this business from the ground up, right? You get to a point where, you know, you said you actually surprised yourself in like how many sessions you were doing in a couple of years' time. You're doing the 40 sessions a week, the 50 sessions a week. You kind of have built, you know, this quite reputable business at this point in a relatively fast period of time. How did you get through that period where it's like, you know, the way that I'm building business here is I'm just giving free sessions, right? I'm just trying to touch as many people as I can, and then hopefully I'm getting the people that come back. So you give 100 free sessions, you get one back, and then maybe you give 70 free sessions, you get one back. You give 50, you get one back. So that happens for a period, and then you kind of build up, you know, maybe you're doing 10 sessions a week, you're building up a customer database. How then do you go, you know what, I'm going to go from 10 to 20. I'm going to go from 20 to 30. I'm going to go from 30 to 40. How do you start adding value in your business? How did that happen for you?
So I was just giving the clients whatever they wanted. They wanted results. So I was doing my best to make sure they get what they want. So they can bring me clients. They can get me clients. Which, when I first started, obviously I had no clients. I just had to do free sessions. But after a year or two, I really didn't need to do anything crazy because I was just focusing on my business. I was just trying to get better and better at what I do. And it was just word of the mouth, you know. I was getting better every month, getting more clients. Now I'm at a point where I don't really. I'm more focused on my online coaching stuff. I don't have many spots available for personal training, which was a dream for me, and I've achieved it.
It's such an important lesson in any business, right? All businesses at some point involve people, whether you're selling a service like you are, whether you're selling products to customers, you know, there's always customers involved at some level, no matter what business you're running. And I think that, you know, the lesson there is you focus on your existing customer database.
Exactly.
You know, because those people are going to be your best advertising through word of mouth. If they have a great customer experience with your service or your product or whatever the situation may be, they're going to be the ones that tell their friends. They're going to be the ones that tell their family members. They're going to be the ones that then grow your business for you. You know, one of the things that I see in all different businesses is people get so focused on how do I get new customers in? How do I get new customers in? How do I get new customers in? You know, maybe it's social media advertising or Google advertising or outdoor advertising or, you know, whatever it is, when it's like, man, if you just focus on your existing customer database and make sure that they have the best possible experience, you know, in the personal training, they're getting the best results that they can possibly get. From a product standpoint, you're delivering the best products you can possibly deliver. Those customers are how you're going to get new customers, you know? So it's like focus on your existing customers and make sure that they have the best possible experience.
Yeah. Exactly. Make sure they get the best results.
You are, you know, at this point as well, because I'm trying to tee these two things up, right? So at this point, when you're doing the 40 sessions a week, you kind of have built this nice business. This is when you kind of start doing well in competing as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you went the first few years, no place, and then things kind of start kicking for you. You're placing in bodybuilding, you transition to classic physique, you're winning classic physique titles in your class. How did you use that to further grow business? Because I remember you said, you know, the reason why you first competed was like, well, if I can show people that I practice what I preach, if I can show people that I can get results in my own body, that's going to be good for my business, and, you know, showing people that I can get those sorts of results for them. So how do you use that to propel your business?
So basically I was just telling my stories to my clients, which made them to trust me from day one. So that, look, if this guy is doing this, if he can do this stuff to his body, if he can go up 20 kilos, drop 20 kilos in 6 months, he can probably help us. And I was just posting a lot of stuff on social media, and everyone was watching it, and they kind of knew it that I could help them, because I've done it myself, not just once. I was prepping all year round. I did 13 shows in 5 years, and just the dedication I had made my clients to trust me, and they did trust me, which helped me a lot with my business. It just went up like that after winning the shows. Yeah, especially with my online clients now. I'm more focused on online clients now. Since I've turned pro, I'm getting a lot more inquiries with online clients, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's always something to be said when, you know, whatever business you're in, when you practice what you preach.
Yeah.
You know, when it's like, you know, this is the service that I offer, or these are the products that I use, and I actually use them myself, or I actually, you know, use this service myself. I think when you it just helps build trust in you as a person, and then in your business when you're actually practicing what you preach, rather than just kind of talking the talk, but
and doing nothing.
And exactly, doing nothing. You know, just not walking the walk.
Yeah, just being different. Just being different to others. Whatever you're doing, just try to be a bit different. Yeah. And just be who you truly are. Just don't fake it.
Authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about this, you know, this bodybuilding journey of yours, man? 2016, 2017, 2018, you know, you go 3 years in bodybuilding, and at this point you'd been training for bodybuilding specifically for 4 years. So you're kind of 7 years in, and you're not getting the results that ideally you would want at that point, right? At that point, you're kind of like, yeah, you know, I've been training 5+ years. You know, I expect to be winning at this point. How do you persevere through kind of lack of results in those early years, and just kind of go, you know what, I'm just gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna keep getting better. What's the driver for you in that situation?
Like basically every single time I lost, I knew I could do a lot better, and it was just so close. I knew if I just work a little bit harder, I could come back and win it. Every time I lost, like there was 4 times when I came second to the overall winner. I was just so close to the pro card. I felt like I had it every single time. I wasn't happy with the outcome, obviously. And I said, okay, I'll do the next show. Next show, same thing happened. I said, I go work hard, I do the next one. 4 times I came second to pro card winner. And then my last show, which was a few months ago, I had a year off. I almost had a year because of pandemic. I just put in the work. I just gave it everything I had. I made a crazy progress in 1 year. And I owned the pro card. I just came back very confident and just won it.
What inside you allows you to use that lack of achievement or lack of result as motivation to keep going, as motivation to keep getting better, rather than, you know what, I'm not getting the results that I want, you know, I'm just going to give up?
I think it's just my personality. I don't like being, if something is my passion, I would never give up on it. I would give it everything I had. And I knew I could do better. I knew I could win it. I believed in myself. That's what I did. I just believed in myself. I knew I could do it, and I did it. Yeah, a lot of people there was a lot of negativities actually when I first said I want to turn pro. There was a lot of comments. A lot of people DM'd me, but I didn't care. I put in the work, and I got it.
Where does this belief come from, man? Because it's a common theme in your story, you know, in both your fitness journey, your bodybuilding journey, your business journey, is just this kind of unwavering belief in yourself that, you know what, whatever you put your mind to, eventually you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to give up until you get it. Where does that come from?
It just comes from inside. I can just, if it feels, if something feels right to me,
yeah,
I'll do it, and I won't give up on it.
Is it something that, you know, you were, it was kind of instilled when you were, your parents, did they instill it in you when you were growing up in Iran? Was it experiences that you kind of went through when you were, like, where does that come from?
I kind of got it maybe from my dad, because my dad, he's the hardest worker. Like, he started from nothing, like zero, to now, like, owning 20 properties or whatever. And he was the hardest worker, man. Like, he was working like 3 jobs a day, and then he started his own business. He was working 18 hours a day, till he got to a point where he obviously didn't need to work as hard anymore. Just, I think I got it from my dad. Like, he works really hard. If he puts his mind into something, he gets it. He's not the smartest guy, but his work ethic is sick. Like, he's just crazy.
So you think your exposure to that growing up was kind of like, well, you know, if I can see my dad do it, start from nothing and just work and just grind and just not lose belief in himself that he's going to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, then I can do it as well. Yeah. You think that's where it comes from? I think so, yeah. What advice would you give to people who struggle with self-belief? Because this is something I see a lot, right? My position on it is, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you.
You have to,
right? You have to have that self-belief. But a lot of times, people, rather than having self-belief, they have limiting beliefs. So instead of going, you know what, I'm gonna get my pro card no matter what, right? It's gonna happen. You know, you can't do it. You can't say anything or do anything, or nothing can happen that's gonna change that belief. A lot of people will be like, they'll start there, and then they won't get the pro card, and then it erodes the belief, and then they don't get it, and it erodes the belief until the point that the belief isn't there anymore. That's far more common than people having this unwavering belief in, you know what, it's going to happen. What advice can you give to kind of stop the self-limiting beliefs and the erosion of belief and reinforce, no matter what happens, I'm going to believe in myself?
First of all, you have to find something that you are really passionate about. Like, you have to really enjoy it. Yeah. And just, I don't care if you have the worst genetic. If you put in the work, you can still, it might take you longer, but you can still get what you want to get. So just put in the work, don't give up, don't care about what others say, and just do your job. Put your head down, do your job, get it done, and you get there.
It all comes back to that, you know, action. It all comes back to action, right? Yeah. You just have to, you got to put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah,
you know?
You got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Got to take the actions.
I think that, you know, a lot of the times is what I see is that the limiting beliefs or the erosion of self-belief in a lot of people is that they just stop putting one foot in front of the other. Yeah. You know, you don't have to make massive leaps. You just need to
baby steps.
Baby steps, man.
Baby steps.
One at a time. You just need to, you know, your competing career, you just got to get that one place better, that one place better, that one place, improve that 1%. Yeah. And then another 1%. And a number in business, you know, just get that one more client and then one more client after that. You know, you don't have to go and get 10 clients all at once. Right? It just needs to be the small progressions, the little baby steps, bit by bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, I want to talk about bodybuilding real quick, because I know that a lot of people tuning into this episode, you know, we don't often have a classic physique pro. In fact, you're the first ever classic physique pro that I've had on the show. And there's no denying that the classic physique division is the most popular at the moment, for sure. You know, more popular than men's physique, more popular than the open bodybuilding classes. Everyone's kind of, they're fixated on the classic physique division, because the physiques are, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
It's back to the golden era of bodybuilding with the classic physique. So I would be doing an injustice if I didn't ask for some of your top tips or some of your top advice for the bodybuilders listening. And this is both, men who are interested in bodybuilding, classic physique, men's physique, and also the ladies as well. If they're trying to build a bikini body, perhaps wellness, perhaps figure, whatever the situation is. What are your top 3 pieces of advice when it comes to progressing your physique?
So first one would be diet. You gotta make sure your diet is on point. Doesn't matter if you're in off season or on season. You still gotta make sure you track your food, you're hitting the macros right. Obviously in off season you'll be eating more food. Prep, it's gonna be less food, but you gotta make sure you track whatever you eat. I see a lot of people that go crazy in the off season. They just get fat and fatter. The fatter you get, it's harder. It's the longer you need to diet for the show. If you say around 12 to 15% body fat, you don't need to do like 20 weeks of prep. You might be just do 12 weeks, and that way you lose less muscle. So don't get fat in off season. Track your food, train hard, and just put in the work. The second one would be the progressive overloading, which I started tracking my weights maybe from like 3 years ago. I started tracking everything, and that made a big difference. Every time I train, I make sure I go just a little bit harder. It might be just an extra rep or just a kilo heavier just for one set. Just make sure I go a little bit harder each session. And it just made a big difference. Just my physique changed completely. Yeah.
And number 3?
Number 3 is obviously it can be technique. So you gotta make sure your form is on point. Like you can do an exercise and feel nothing or just feel your joints. Let's say you're doing chest, you might do it incline press and you just feel your shoulders. But with a slight change, you might just bring your elbows in, feel your chest more, take the pressure off your shoulders, and just you gotta make sure whatever you're doing, you feel that the working muscle. You gotta make sure you get a good squeeze. Make sure you just feel it. Yeah.
So diet, progressive overload, lifting technique. Those are the top 3.
Top 3.
With the diet, let me just ask a quick question, because one of the things that I see, especially with competitive athletes, athletes who compete, once a year, twice a year, once every 2 years, whatever it is when they're in contest prep, 20 weeks, 15 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, everything is down to a point. All the meals are in every day, everything's weighed out. It's a well-oiled machine. And then when they go into off season, it's kind of like, eat when I feel like it. If I hit my macros, good. If I don't, no big deal. I'll try again tomorrow. It's very kind of relaxed when it comes to diet in the off season period. And I often think that, the off season diet is usually more important than the pre-contest, because that's when you build the physique, right? That's when you grow. When you're dieting for a show, you're uncovering the work that you've put in the off season, right? You're getting the body fat off, but you're not necessarily making big progress to your physique from a building shape perspective. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see similar things with people kind of just dropping the ball in the off season? And
they just don't take it as serious.
Yeah.
And next year they come back, they look pretty much the same, if not worse. It might be a little bit better, but for me, everything is on point off and on season. I don't drink, I don't do anything crazy. And I just enjoy it, If you want to make a good progress, you have to make sure your off season is just, you're just as strict as when you're on prep. You gotta make sure you hit the macros, you're not overeating, you don't want to get too fat. Just stick to the basics.
Yeah. So diet in your off season, maybe, not with the strictness of pre-contest, but, make sure you're hitting your macros. Make sure you're getting your meals in. Make sure your meal timing's on point, because that's when you're going to make the big progress.
That's improvement season.
When it comes to your progressive overload, this is probably one of the most common pieces of advice when it comes to improving a physique. But you kind of, we've been talking all day today, right? And you mentioned a couple of times to me that, your progressive overload is all year round. It doesn't matter if you're off season. It doesn't matter if you're 2 weeks out from the show. You are always trying to do something to make yourself uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So, in the off season, that might be increasing your weights. It might be doing rest pause sets. It might be increasing volume, using different techniques to instigate progressive overload. And I find that, once again, usually pre-contest, people kind of throw progressive overload out the window, and they're like, well, I'm prepping for a show, so I don't need to push the weights, and I don't need to, push my body as hard because I'm in caloric deficit, and, all these different excuses. What are your thoughts about that?
Like I said to you before, like even on prep, I'm setting PBs. Like 4 days out, I was setting PBs. I was doing 80 kilo chest dips for like 10 reps.
Yeah.
And I always make sure I'm progressively overloading. If I'm not going heavier than last time, sometimes in prep, I make sure I at least do the same weight, or I do an extra rep or something. Mm-hmm. I feel like that helped me a lot with my last prep, where I could keep all my muscles and I didn't lose my fullness, so I did not have to carb up like anything crazy. Mm-hmm. Like from like a week out, I didn't deplete or anything. I was just on like 300-400 grams of carb because I didn't go flat. I wasn't doing this last prep. I did no cardio. I was burning more calories. How? By just going a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Every week I was burning just a little bit more calorie. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't always have to be, I think that some people kind of fall into the trap of the only way I can progressive overload is to increase my weight every workout. Yeah. So if I'm doing,
it can be your tempo, it can be just an extra rep. Yeah. It can be just less rest in between sets. Mm-hmm. Just train your muscle a little bit harder. There's so many different ways. You can set rest pause sets, do drop sets, just train to failure.
It's really anything that kind of pushes your muscle outside of what it's comfortable doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
And then the final point, lifting technique. This is something that I'm huge on. Right, I sometimes get called the lifting Nazi when it comes to technique. There's such a difference between moving a weight from point A to point B using whatever muscles you need to move that weight, as opposed to using a weight as a resistance against a particular muscle contraction. Yeah. You're a big advocate for mind-muscle connection, right? Thinking about, I'm doing this particular exercise. Maybe you mentioned incline press, right? So I'm doing incline barbell press. What am I trying to target with this movement? Well, I'm trying to target upper chest. So let me focus on making sure I'm contracting my upper chest on each and every rep, not just moving the barbell from this point to this point and using front delts, middle delts, all sorts of shit, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not about how much weight you move. It's more about how you move the weight first and then slowly progress on that. So you gotta make sure your form is on point. You're not going too fast. You're not taking too long breaks in between sets. I see a lot of people at the gym. They do a set, they go talk for 10 minutes, they come back, they do another set, and they go. That's not how it works. Yeah. That's just not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. So focus on the focus. I mean, this is for bodybuilding, right? So we're aesthetic based athletes. We're trying to make a physique look a certain way. So you have to train to accommodate that. If you're a power lifter or if you're a strong man, who cares? It's not about how you look. It's about how much weight you can lift from point A to point B. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to add muscle in different places on our physique. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we are stimulating those particular muscles under the load for whatever exercise we're doing.
Yeah.
Ethan, what's next for you, man? What's next? Tell me about your future goals. Let's go business first, fitness after that.
So business, I want to grow my online coaching. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're really like you're maxed out in terms of like physical training at the moment, right? Exactly, like there's only so many sessions you can do.
Yeah, I feel like I cannot do any more at the gym because I want to provide the best service for my clients. If I'm tired, I wouldn't I want to give it my best to my clients. So I don't feel like I can do more sessions at the gym. I want to do more stuff at home. And I'm pretty happy with my physical with the personal training I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm now just more focused on online coaching. And since I turned pro, it's helped a bit. It's going up slowly, which is good.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people want to be coached by a pro, right?
Yeah,
because that's the proof right there. You practice
if you
what
want to
you
turn
preach.
pro, yeah.
There's only what do we have in Australia? We've got like 5 classic physique pros, right?
Yeah, I think we have 5.
So a very small group, very elite group of athletes.
Yeah.
So from a business, it's grow the online coaching side of the business. What else? What's like the 5 to 10 year, 15 year?
Maybe in a few years' time, maybe in 10 years' time, 5 to 10 years, I wanna have the biggest gym in Sydney. I wanna own the biggest gym in Sydney, biggest bodybuilding gym, like a nice gym, like a proper bodybuilding gym.
Awesome. I'll be the first one to train that.
That's the goal.
I'll be there on opening day.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Can't wait for that.
What about on the fitness side of things? So you've spent the last 5 years competing. You've got to the top of what you can do as an amateur, which is win the overall. You've got your pro card. Now you kind of, you come to the bottom of the pool when it comes to the group of pro athletes worldwide, but you're on the international stage now. So what are the goals for you from competing from a fitness perspective? Where do you go from
So my
here?
biggest goal is obviously to win Olympia. I want to be it's a classic Olympia.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, obviously I have to do a pro show. I have to win my first pro show, get qualified for Olympia, and eventually I want to win Olympia. I believe I can do it. Just need to put in the work. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just trying to get a little bit better every single day. And I'm sure I can do it if I just consistently get better.
Well, you've proven that you can do it because you've done it in all areas of your life. Just that one foot in front of the other, one step, progressive overload in all areas of your life.
Yes.
Bit by bit, inch by inch, 1% after 1%. So I'm excited to see from a personal level how it all plays out for you, because I think that you've definitely got the genetics, you've got the work ethic, you've got the mindset, you've got the self-belief, you've kind of got all the pieces of the puzzle that are required to take it all the way to the top. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do it. So
yeah, I know you don't need me to say it, but I believe you can do it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Just add to your self-belief as well, man.
Just gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
I won't stop.
100%. Brother, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, brother. It was a pleasure.
It's been awesome having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
An incredible story of, literally starting from the bottom, and what you've been able to achieve since you moved to Australia in the last, what's it been, 7-8 years now, since you moved, in both the business side of things, in the fitness side of things, has been absolutely inspirational. So I'm sure that a bunch of people who have listened to this episode, watched this episode, are going to pull a whole bunch of inspiration from hearing your story and hearing your journey. And I know that they're going to be as excited as I am to see what the future holds for Ethan Gohari.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Absolutely.
I truly enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
It was the first podcast, so I was a bit nervous, but
Nah, you've done well, man. You've done well. I have a habit of doing that, bringing people in for their first ever podcast and putting them on one of the biggest podcasts in the country. But it's all good. Just jump in the deep end.
I definitely feel blessed to be here.
Absolutely, man. For those, for the listeners and the viewers who'd like to follow your journey, where's the best place to connect with you?
So just on my Instagram, which is Ethan Gohari _IFBB Pro.
Yeah. ETHAN GOHAR _IFBB Pro.
That's it.
Nice and phonetic, so you guys can't make any mistakes.
That's it.
Guys, if you've enjoyed listening to this show, if you've enjoyed listening to Ethan's story and got some value out of the experience that he shared with you guys, the one thing we ask in return is that you guys share the show. You can share it person to person. You can, we've spoken about word of mouth in this episode. That's the best way, is tell friends, tell family, tell your training partners to come and listen to the Fitness Times Business podcast. The other thing you guys can do, we really enjoy seeing these as well, is if you want to take a screenshot right now of the podcasting platform you're listening on, post that screenshot in your Instagram story, tag Ethan Gohari _IFBB Pro, tag myself at Joseph Mencel. We see those tags. We like to reshare them as well. And obviously those stories get seen by all of your followers. So it's a great way to spread the word. Ethan, thank you so much once again, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Brother.
Thank you guys for listening, for tuning in. Until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Fitness Times Business podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you enjoyed this episode and took some value from it, make sure you share it with your friends, your family, and your followers. And if you haven't yet, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating.